Our next presentation is on modernizations in fall and osteoporosis prevention by the Kentucky Safe Aging Coalition. Speaker today is Dr. Roy Tapp. He is a coordinator for the Kentucky Safe Aging Coalition. After a successful military career, he earned a Ph.D. in teaching and learning research methods from the University of North Dakota and has taught in both Midway University as well as at the Bluegrass Community Technical College for many years. So with that, thank you, Roy, and I'm going to take over here and please proceed.
Hello, everyone. I'm Roy. I'm with the Kentucky Safe Aging Coalition, and for the next 20-30 minutes, I'd like to talk to you about some things I have seen, about some things I have observed, some ideals perhaps that I have collected, as well as maybe some suggestions from you all. So if you have any comments or anything, please speak up. More than welcome. But first, about where the organization I belong to, we work with people 65 and older with fall prevention primarily and associated issues. And by that, I mean, we are trying to work with people to keep them out of emergency rooms, to keep them independent, to identify and reduce risk as much as possible. The advantage of doing a home assessment, for example, with fall prevention, one might see other risks, such as fire related, or something with pets and so on. So there are many benefits to what we're doing, directly or indirectly, tangible and intangible. So we do our best to assess the risk and help out by working with other organizations throughout the state, individuals, the educational component, hosting tables, speaking, any way that we can possibly work with other collaborators in the state to build these relationships, to build these coalitions so that we can make it safer for those who are 65 and older. The three things I want to mention right now are up on the screen, and I did bring just 5 examples. By modernizations, I'm talking about more than just handouts and speaking one-on-one. And that's how we've traditionally done things, because it is a personal issue. When one meets their physician, when one talks to their family members, it's a personal situation. How do we reach the individuals on a mass scale? Plus the individual side too, to get their attention. Lots of things are happening in one's life at this stage of the game. And when you're in the 4th quarter of your life, your concerns may be more on how is my grandson doing in school, or what's happening to my sister, or did you hear about my neighbor, and so on. And sometimes there's other health-related issues, other concerns that are going on. So how do we address these concerns as a group and individually? So these 5 examples here: community access, Hooper, Saving Clare, Health in Motion, that's a platform, and geographic information systems might assist us here. If you've ever been in a senior citizen home or a residence home, nursing home, whatever we wish to call these long-term facilities, there's usually a kiosk, there's usually a desk there that has a PC that runs advertisements and so on. But at the same time, residents can also use it for email and other purposes as well. Virtually, based on my travels in the last couple of years, virtually every resident home I've been to, nursing home, senior citizen home, has a setup like this. And by posting a flyer about KSAC, by posting information about taking care of your bones, by information if you fall and you break a hip or you have a traumatic brain injury, that's a way to connect with them too. But there's a disadvantage here in places like senior citizen centers. There's a lot going on. You got games, you got meals, you got friends, and so on. So the methodology there is there, but it's not all connected either. These are standalone systems. So we have to load them that way to get the individual's attentions. and find some way to do it. Maybe put a pot of candy there or put it in more public access. There's various ways to do this. One area where I've seen a possibility, believe it or not, are in restrooms, above the sinks and so on. I've actually seen that. Maybe that's an idea. I don't know. It seems inappropriate at the same time too to me. So obviously some thought has to go into it, but how do you use that kind of mechanism? Looper is actually, the second item, is actually a television station that the state of Kentucky uses, and the Bluegrass area district that covers counties like Scott, Fayette, and so on, they have, if I recall right, 86 slots for individuals that are elderly that can tap into this, that can subscribe. And they get exercise programs, cooking programs, health programs, and so on. Now, this is obviously a very selective, limited access, but it's more directly to the individual at the house, especially with those who are confined to the house. So I've been working with the Bluegrass District Agency to come up with a methodology, simple, just stating that KSAC's here and we can help you out. I have had one person that called me a few weeks ago who actually mentioned they saw the ad, and she wanted information on how to make her apartment more safe, more fall-proof. So there's a mechanism there that can work. And of course, we have to think about the trickle down aspect as well. Telling neighbors, telling family members, and hopefully the word will spread. So that's another way of doing it too. The third thing is saving Claire. Chris Ames is based in Florida. He's nationally now, Ames Presentation. National Council on Aging has worked with him and other groups throughout the country. And Chris actually presented at our quarterly meeting back in November 10th. And he gave a presentation about saving Claire. And it's a comprehensive toolkit system that has everything from 4 videos, 15, 30, 45, and 60 minutes to work with individuals. So it's just not as, sit here, watch a 20-minute video, don't fall down, get hurt. It's actually a tutorial and engagement system. There are handouts, there are individuals to work with the people, the clients. There is also ways of working from an orthopedic standpoint, and there's a help desk too. Saving Claire came from an idea by a 70-year-old playwright based on personal experiences of her life at that time and also dealing with health risk. And this went into Saving Claire system where it has proved very adaptable to just not organizations but individuals as well. So Saving Claire is one mechanism that's gone nationally that can be used in a group setting, or it can be used individually as well. These are some of the components and processes involved with Saving Claire. You have videos, again, 4 of them, planning tools, client surveys and plans for each individual, and then group them together, analyze them. Occupational therapy content, because some of our people that are 65 and older obviously have other health issues we have to address. And the 2 process deals with watching the initial video, Saving Claire, and then implementing the program by the planner. For more information on this, we have it on the site, our website, KSAC's website. Not only Chris Ames' presentation, but follow-up information if you want to see the actual video, what's involved, introduction, oversee of the program, as well as the various components too. And then how to get a hold of Chris if you want to implement it. Since we had this in our quarterly meeting on November 10th, I have had 3 individuals that's asked me for Chris' email And it's right there on the slides. Sometimes we just don't see things. You know, we get excited, we get involved and so on. And they've asked for his contact information because they want to implement it. All three are in the medical community, hospitals. They see something there too that can be used. Health and Motion Platform. Matthew Smith, he presented out at our virtual summit, annual summit back in September. And he took a different track. He said Texas A&M. He and his collaborators, his co-workers, came up with a way to work with technology with other people. It is view, and I heard this many times when I first took this position almost 2 years ago, older people don't use technology. Well, okay, that's a view. It's not true, obviously. And they came up with this idea, what if we could develop an app that could evaluate a new program dealing with coordination, balance, mobility, and other factors to reduce falls, as well be adaptable to put down on Billy Bob Ray Smith's cell phone so that it could be used by Billy Bob Ray Smith, taking part in an exercise program, taking part in a fall prevention program to build that person's ability with motion, balance, and other physical attributes, as well as collecting the data that can be used to be analyzed, not only to help the program itself that was developed, but the individuals involved too. And that's what they did. We have his information on our website as well. Just simply go to K-SPAN, you'll see K-SPAN up there, and then you'll see a bunch of tabs like folders in the filing cabinet, you know, manila folders. Look for the one that says older adults, click on that, and then you'll see the site. So basically what Dr. Smith did in this group was come up with an avatar that can work with the individual. And if I could use you, sir, for example, you're 68 years old, so health, you keep falling down. And we're going to throw this in there too, the mental part. Back home, this is a true story. I had a phone call a few months ago, maybe this was you, that called the certain county's health department who contacted me. And they said, the county health department said that you cannot tell even your physician you've fallen more than 5 times, because the rule is if the government finds out that you failed more than 5 times, you're going to be placed in a nursing home for the rest of your life and you're going to lose your house. True story. So that's the world that you're in. Okay? So we're able to enroll you into one of these programs. And there's a lot of interest in this. The National Council on Aging and other groups, NIH, for example, have set up funding for programs like this, for research. And you have one of the new fancy phones where you can do more than talk on it and so on, surf the web and what have you. You've embraced technology at your age and you're really interested in it. You download the app and you start working through the program. And say the first 5 times you can only do chair squats. But you're increasing. And let's say you can walk more and more distance without wobbling, so to speak. And the program is recording all of that. So your information is going to help you out because the researcher, the physicians or whatever, and yes, it can be transmitted to your physician. We can see where you're having problems and maybe you don't need a cane. Maybe what you need is just more confidence or there's another health issue that we didn't realize that was like medication. And therefore, get rid of the cane. Your information you could build on for a long-term situation for improving your health and preventing falls. And at the same time, the program you chose to enroll in, your data with your consent can be used to improve the program and release the findings. A few years ago, this would have been unimaginable. And thank you, sir, for taking part. So Just these four right here should give you an idea of what's going on. It's no longer, here's a handout, or I'm the physician saying, don't fall. Fall-proof your house. We're going beyond that. Geographic information systems have been used in various areas, such as the military, healthcare, and other areas. And this is very promising too. The first one I can find related to falls happened in 2010 in the state of Washington. And they went in and they wanted to see where falls were happening the most. And their subject number was 84. And it wasn't at home. It was at parks and recreation areas. Majority of the falls. And they were able to map these things. So how did they map these? Well, this is an example of Brown County and Moorhead. And you can see the three streets, North Wilson Avenue, Knapp Avenue, and Robin Hood Drive. You will have little circles, dark circles, pyramids, squares, or whatever, depending on how it's coded, the script. And it will say if they're male or female and where or not they fell. So you can see clusters of this happening. And that's what the researchers back in 2010 initially discovered how you could use geographic information systems for. So imagine here in Frankfurt, if one wants to know what's happening with falls based on EMS responses, for example, or if we're in New York City and we can go by zip code and EMS responses, we can get a clear picture of what's happening in this area. Why are people falling at the local parks and recreation area? We thought we made them safe. Questions, comments? Okay. Here's another side to the issue. And this is very personal for a lot of people, because typically we find out about this when we go to the physician or family history, and what causes us to go to the medical community and so on. The reason I chose to put this particular information back here, that's the best way I can think of getting people's attention in these areas at that age group. It's not like I can put somebody's bones that's been eaten up, very porous and everything, and say, this is you. Next person up, this is you. You see what I'm saying? How do you reach that individual to get it through? If you've ever gone to the physician with an older person, it can be a challenge. I know. I take care of my 90-year-old mother. And the thing is, when my mother gets in there, a former nurse, they want to talk about medical things, and they want to talk about the physician just recently having a child. Forget the reasons why my mother's there to see the physician. She's distracted to find out the human side of the visit, non-medical. And this is true with other individuals. Sometimes they're lonely, sometimes they are just not focused. So how do we get their attention? Going back to the nursing homes, going back to UPER, going back to other systems, maybe the individual contact, but going towards a group setting, we can do that. And that's something we are working at, the Kentucky Safe Aging Coalition. How do we reach individuals, male and female, to say, this could be your problem. Don't let it become your problem. Affordability is a big issue, and I want to talk about, first we talked about 5 examples, and now I'd like to talk about affordability. And that's a buzzword in today's world, is it not in this country? Affordability, grocery prices, gas prices have gone down, healthcare prices, some people are seeing up to $1,200 a year in premiums increase, bigger deductibles and so on. I hope you will remember this slide for later on. 4 individuals fell in a few months of each other. One was in the late 60s, one late 80s, late 80s for the third, early 90s for the fourth. You can see the major outcome of each of the falls. And I'm going to go back here on the slides for a moment. This one, more back to Moorhead. I'll let you guess where they're from. Okay. Round count. So if we use information systems there, graphically showing where these people fell and live. Imagine, say, Knapp Avenue, a house right here, a house right here, a house right here, a field, a house that's not involved, and then a fifth house right here that was involved. With me? In the space of 5 houses, 3 people on that chart initially on Knapp Avenue had serious falls. The 4th house did not, the 5th house did. Oops, my fault. So looking at these individuals, you can see what happened. And the first person was in the kitchen, fell against the kitchen table, hard, broke some ribs. Ouch. That's on top of having double knee replacement and some other issues. Second person, she was in her living room, had a glass table in the living room, plenty of walkway, something went wrong, hit the glass table, you know how they stand over the edge of the frame, and just ripped the skin right up and muscle. Emergency room visit, obviously. The third person, next door neighbor to the second one, longtime neighbor, actually laid on the living room floor for 14 hours before his son just happened to come by and check on him. 14 hours. Didn't have life alert, didn't have a phone or anything like that. And he died later on due to complications. He had some other serious medical risks. And the fourth individual, retired Marine, had been in Korea, Vietnam, had an A-frame house, had a spiral staircase. Guess what he kept doing? Going down that staircase the wrong way. He went down it the wrong way one time. They hauled him off to the hospital. Apparently he had heart problems, had a minor heart attack. He released himself from the hospital, went back home, made it clear to his wife he was going to bed upstairs, do or die. Started up the stairs, back down he came, and he died a few hours later. So sometimes falls just not the particular reason, it's a complication. There's many factors, but it seems like fall is a common element. So when it comes to affordability, we can see that it's expensive. And this is for Round County. For the age group 65 and up. That's recorded. I don't think we'll ever know the true number of falls or the cost because the way our medical community works and how people are. How many people in this room actually going to say, I fell down the stairs? Not many. I mean, we have that pride factor, do we not? Especially older people. And if you're from Eastern Kentucky, you have that Eastern Kentucky pride factor. And you're not going to admit, in most cases, that you fell, you were negligent or whatever, that you should have known better. Another way to look at the cost, I chose the top 3. This is data that's collected from K-SPAN. Again, if you go to the website, type in K-SPAN, go to the website, go to injury data, and you will see a host of possibilities of up-to-date, current, in-depth tables, reports, all types of good information that has been collected and reported in easy-to-read formats. And Dr. Ashley Bush, who's in the back room, is one of the authors of these reports. And her group have made it so simple to use this data. It's a nice treasure. So you can see what's happening here. People question the medium charge for some of this, like motor vehicle traffic accidents. But what happens when you're in an accident? It can be quite serious. If you're in a bad accident, you're going to need medical attention. And it can make the news, can it not? How many times you've seen in the news that somebody fell down their stairs? You don't? And again, going back to the individual, going back to our volunteer here, how do you reach that individual? So those 5 first recommendations would work quite well in certain settings and by the proper user of those too. It's going to be a collective effort that we do. And it's going to affect each person in this room if you live long enough. You're going to fall. It's going to hurt. And the consequences, as you can see by the various charts, it's going to be expensive. And this is not counting the strain on you mentally, physically, emotionally, the changes in your house. This is not counting what it means for your family too. Because if you have to go see your mother or father or another person 2-3 times a week, and one of the first things you do on their visit is to see if it's fall proof in their house, it takes up your resources. And that's why KSAC does what it does. We are trying to make a difference with fall prevention. Questions, comments? Yes, sir.
But I've done some trauma verification site visits. There was one system in particular, I'll tell you about it later, that is mentioned to me that if they have, let's say the patient came in with a fall, senior came in with a fall, that there is some short video and perhaps some information that they have made available to the family to watch while the patient's inside, that they've been able to have the family watch or have the family and the patient watch on things that they should do when they get home, to look at their home, to see what might be the risks and the things that they can change, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When I've asked in other places, they think it would be a great idea, and I've sent them to you, but is there anything like that? A short video that the family and the patient can watch as they're being, discharge planned, and they can learn from and maybe then use to go home as a tool to take a look at their house and see what they might be able to change or improve on?
Yes, you made me have 3 thoughts, sir. Thank you for your question and comments. The first one, yes, there's a handout with case family, double-sided, thick, kind of plastic over, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's durable. It's a checklist that was developed in-house, and we're trying to get that out to everybody we can. As for a video, we don't have one yet ourselves, say me appearing and saying, do this, this, and this. There are other checklists, for example, from St. Clair Hospital. They have somewhat of a comprehensive checklist to work with too. So it's individualized, but there's a group effort to work with this. And then with the video and so on in the hospital, I'm kind of curious how that would be shown, or the patient. And the reason I'm thinking about this, it was in the Washington Post a few weeks ago. This physician was in a car accident, and she messed up one of her knees, had a cut on her leg, and a sprained ankle. She went to the emergency room. This is the physician now. She went to the emergency room, and they decided you need to stay overnight. So the emergency room discharged her. She was admitted to the hospital and then got a bill for $40,000 for the overnight stay at the hospital. Why? Because the insurance company considered her being released from the emergency room the end of the story. That's what the insurance should cover. And the physician was on the hook, so to speak, for it. And that's why I was thinking about that. In a situation like that, instead of a car accident, if it was, say, going back to you, sir, a bad fall, when could we show them that video? Or give them a copy? Distribution methods. I like challenges. You've given me something to think about, sir.
Dick, you don't have those checklists in magnet form.
Mm-hmm.
Some you would like the data to certain hospitals that need it. If there is interest and you can get some sort of buy-in, for hospitals to show a falls video, we'd be happy. We've got we could probably work on getting something developed if we have some guidelines.
Okay.
The third thing, sir, you made me think of this slide. Because that person being discharged and going home is going to mightily have another bad fall. They seem to get worse or stay the course, if you know what I'm trying to say. If you're curious how I know these four individuals, the first house, I grew up in Lorraine. The first house, long-term friend. Second house, my 90-year-old mother. Third house, lifelong friend that died living for 14 hours on the living room floor. Up the street, the Marine, uncle. The drive home, how personal, how consuming, how costly this can be to you. And these modernization areas, because we are in the 21st century, technology is here, we might as well use it. And the biggest thing I wanted to do was say, hey, this is what's going on. And I can see some people pondering this. Because again, it's going to affect you individually one way or the other. Short term or long term. Thank you all for coming. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I'm just curious where you can get resources for this kind of information. Okay, because I definitely would like to get some. I go to visit our senior center every month because I work with the health department, and so I talk to them. And this is something that would be really great for them to have. So
I get my card for you, and I owe the young lady back there your red card too.
okay,
And if anybody else want my card, please contact me. I will respond.
Thank you, Roy.